All right, all right. So, where was I? So now we are going from Fredericksburg to Springfield, Richmond, Virginia. Sorry. Then this was going to be the day before we had the Richmond arrest day, and then my very last day. So this is day 14. We're on now. So this ride was hot, very hot, and a lot of back roads. Like a lot of back roads. But it was nice. Like this dude just came out of the woods on a four-wheeler and just sped away. I was like, where did he even come from? But it was so cool. Like the houses are beautiful. The area was nice, just quiet. It was like there was this house and the whole like acres was theirs. So it was just this street going through, no other houses around. It was nice, quiet. This ride was pretty easy. So it's about 12:30 and I still do not hear from my friend. And I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to remind myself he's doing you this favor. He's here for you. He's taking this time for you. But he's not being helpful. He's just here at this point. At this point, he's just here to drive from place to place. So I feel like I have a right to be a little bit frustrated because you agreed to this. I told you, I forewarned you what I would need. So I sent him a Marco Polo because we were using Marco Polo. It was just easier than having to use my phone. Didn't respond. So like an hour after I send the Marco Polo, I call and I'm like, where are you? Because the back roads were just back roads. I was starting to run out of my water and Gatorade. There were no stores. So I was like, where are you? He's like, I'm at the hotel. And I was like, the one in Fredericksburg or the one in Richmond? And he's like, the one in Richmond. I'm like, why haven't I heard from you all day? It's almost 1:00. It's about 90 degrees. You have not checked on me once. What are you doing? You don't understand why I've been frustrated with you? And this is the side that my mom didn't see, that I'm sure whoever else I was complaining to didn't see. Like, you guys didn't see this. You guys, unless you're in my situation, you won't get it. I get it. You're probably like, God, she was such a bee to him. She's so mean to him. But when you're on a bike, when I'm on a bike and I'm in the middle of wherever I am and I have no liquid, and the purpose of people buying me the Gatorades and the snacks off Amazon was so I didn't have to stop at stores to do that. And the purpose of putting them in the car and in the cooler, which he ended up filling, whatever, and putting them in the cooler was so I didn't have to stop and spend more money on stuff that we already have. What sense does that make? I mean, think about it. From where point A to point B, average was what, 60 miles? It's an hour drive. From wherever I was, it would have taken him not that much time to get there. It probably seems like, wow, that's a lot of driving, but it really wasn't. And I only needed him maybe one time each time, because I did keep that in mind, that he was driving and he had the dogs, and I would only call him once, and I would spend the money on the Gatorade and whatever else, so I didn't have to bother him. So I didn't have, because I was trying to take some of the load off, even though but I was trying to be thoughtful because I know that he's stressed as well, I guess, but for no reason. So I was irritated yet again. So then I finally get there. that was my last day of riding for the veterans, all with specific names. And one of the guys from Mission 22 messaged me the day before, and he was like, do I still have time to put somebody on the list? And I was like, yeah, of course. And he gave me the names of 4 men that committed suicide. And he was like, is it okay if you can't do all 4, that's fine. And I was like, of course I can do all 4. I'm not leaving any of them out. I don't want to cry again because I just fixed my face. I brought toilet paper because I knew I was going to cry again at some point. But the fact that he said that made me so sad. Like, why would I not do why would I not ride for all of them? And I know he didn't mean anything. It was just, he was probably like, me, if that was me in the situation, I probably would have been like the same. Like, if you can do however many you can do, you do that. But I felt like, of course I'm going to ride for them all. They all fought. I don't know them. I don't know the situation about why they took their lives, but I know they fought for this country. I know they were Marines. Yeah, they're all getting ridden for. But yeah, I made it that last ride. Another rest day. Hung out with my mom a little bit, but again, I snapped. There was something happened between me and him again. And this is where I realized, you know what? Just get this ride over with and you can part ways with this friendship. Because I learned a lot about him. And I saw like the amount of excuses he had, and I was like, this is an addict talking to me. Like, I have so many excuses, an excuse for everything. And I was just done. Like, he has been here for me for a lot emotionally when I had my moments. When I was put into, Section 12, when you're harm to yourself, and he was there. He was calling me at the hospital, and he was a supportive friend to talk to. I had been there for him. He has been supportive. But you have to realize sometimes, even in friendships, you have to part ways, regardless of the history. And a lot of people can't do that. But when we met, from where I was to where I am now, I'm a whole different person. And from where he was then to where he is now, I feel like I kind of went uphill, he kind of went downhill. And he makes a lot of excuses and doesn't take ownership. And again, that's why I'm not saying his name, because I'm not trying to bash him. I'm just telling the reality of the situation and why I can't be friends with somebody like that. I'm in a whole different headspace. I can't be here worrying about you every day when you don't even worry about yourself. And this is where you need to learn, where people need to learn to separate themselves from, no matter what you and this person have been through, you do not owe them your sanity. You do not owe another person your life for, as far as what I mean when I say you don't owe them your life, you don't owe them. You need to set boundaries. Sorry, I can't explain what I'm trying to say. You need to set boundaries, and I don't owe, because he's been there for me. That doesn't mean I have to stay here for this entire struggle. I don't, because from before we even left this bike trip, I have been nothing but stressed with you. Nothing but stress has come from you being on this bike trip with me. Gratitude, I still have it. Still grateful that he came, that he helped me. But when you are feeling stress from before you even get on the road, that's a problem. And this could be from any situation you have with a person. I mean, I've had a friend, she's an amazing person now. She's clean and sober. But when we were younger, I was always anxious to go with her anywhere. And I loved her, and we were best friends, and I didn't want, and I just felt sucked into that, like I had to do whatever to keep this friendship rather than seeing what it was doing to me. And I've grown out of that, and I'm so grateful I have, that I've learned to set boundaries. I don't hate him. I hope he gets the help he needs. I hope he gets better. I wish nothing bad upon him. I still love him. And when he is clean, I will be here for him. But for me to jeopardize, I know I'm not mentally stable to take on another unstable person's issues. I'm just not. I'm not a therapist. I'm not. And that's the reality of it. And a lot of people struggle with that. Struggle with realizing that you are not a therapist. You are not somebody's babysitter, their guardian. And you put their mental health before yours. And I'm not doing that. And he made a comment to me. We were texting, and I said, you know what? I am very grateful that you're here. I do appreciate you. I hope you can take this situation and you can realize the friendships that you're putting in jeopardy for what you're doing. And again, you guys don't know the whole story. I'm not going into that. But you're jeopardizing friendships, relationships, blah, blah, blah. Look at this. Sorry. I still have this bike tan. Look at, you can see where the glove was. Sorry. ADD. Squirrel. And so he said something that, and literally, I'm fascinated that every day was a growing experience for me. And this was another one. He said, I was going to cut my wrists because I felt like I ruined your trip. And part of me at that moment said, you think cutting your wrists would have made my trip better or something? Like, my trip would have ended completely if you did that. And in my mind, you know, I felt that's so selfish of you. So selfish of you right now. For one, for even if you did think that, that's selfish in itself. For two, for even telling me that you were thinking that. Keep it to yourself. And so the next day I had a moment to reflect, and this was the rest day, yeah. The next day I was in my room, and I was reflecting on the comment, and I thought to myself, I said, wow, the amount of times that I have threatened to kill myself. And yeah, I meant it each time, but a lot of the times I was reaching out for help. I was reaching out. I just wanted somebody to know that how hurt I was and how much pain I was in. And I have attempted suicide, and that's a whole other video, but I felt that moment. I felt like a brand new person, honestly, because I thought, wow, I owe a lot of people an apology forever putting them through that. And I immediately told my best friend that I was so sorry, Vanessa, because what I put them through, and it's beautiful and it's scary when you can see from the other side. Like, not that I was saying it just like, haha, F you, give me attention. It was me hurting and reaching out, but I, for one, never said it. I may have always felt that way. Sometimes with friends, like on when it was their day or their time. But I never, ever would have put that on somebody during a stressful moment in their time, during their moment, or any of that. Never was I like that. But I do and did apologize forever saying those things. And I'm not saying that you're a bad person if you said that, but when you come out on the other end and you can see it from somebody else's point of view, you see it's stressful on them. It is very stressful on somebody else. And I saw it firsthand, like, you start having all these thoughts, and I thought about if I ever killed myself, those times that I actually tried, you're literally hurting so many people. Your stress is now on these people. And again, this is just me. This is how I reflected this whole situation of him doing this. And I was just like, wow. I apologize to my mom. Like, I don't ever want to be that way again. I'm happy that I'm here. Like, so it is the last day, 104 miles. No. So the ride was 125 miles, right? So my plan was I was going from Richmond to this library, because this library had the Mission 22 War at Home Memorial. And that was my whole plan for the trip to begin with, was to get to Oklahoma to see that. But because of COVID, it never got moved, and funding, it never went to Oklahoma. I didn't think it was still in Virginia. I was hoping that it would still be up at the library. Didn't think it was there. So my plan was to go there. The final destination was the Tidewater Veterans Memorial in Virginia Beach. In total, that ride was 125 miles. So my plan was to have my mom drive me to where it would make the ride 100 miles, because my plan was only 100 miles, because I'm not stupid. Yes, I like to be the best and I like to push myself, but going from 80 miles to 125 was just not how you do it. That's not how you do that. I'm sorry, it's just not. And anybody cycling would understand that. You don't just go from 80 to 125. You've never gone over 80 miles. You're not going to just jump to 125. So the plan was for her to bring me to where it would make it 100 miles. All right? So she drives me. It's dark. It's like 4 a.m. because I had a time frame, because people were coming to be at the finish line for me. They were going to be there waiting. So left at dark. I think we left at like 3:30. She drops me off, and I'm riding, and something hits me in my brain. I said, mind you, the library, I said, Mom, I texted her, I was like, I had you drop me off to where it was 100 miles away from the library, not the Tidewater. Because mind you, the library to the Tidewater is 20 miles. So basically, this was still going to be a 120-mile ride. I didn't really do anything. So, I'm like, whatever. When he gets up, I'm going to have him drive me a certain distance to cut that time down. So I'm riding. It's pitch black because it's like 4 a.m. in Virginia. And at first, I'm along this road, this path. It's like a bike trail. And there's street lights because there's like apartments and whatnot. And then it goes into this little bush area. And the navigation I have it so I can see like the tree lines and all the trees and whatever. So then there's this area where it's just pitch black. and it says it's trees for a good bit. And I'm like, no, back around. I'm going to get on the street. I'm going to get off this bike trail. So I go, and I've never ridden in the dark. I have a flashlight so I can see like right in front of me. It doesn't go too far, but I want to make sure I don't hit a nail. And I'm riding, and I can feel like the pressure, and I'm like, I'm going up a hill. I'm going up a hill, and I can't see how high it is because there's no street lights. I can't see how high this hill is. I can't see anything. So I end up turning around because it's dark and I see there's trees, and I turn around and I'm like, breathing heavy. I'm like, stop. I'm like, you need to focus. I'm like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're going to turn around and wait for it to get daylight in 2 hours? You're going to turn around? You need to ride up this hill and ride down it. And I'm like, all right. So I turn back around, loop back around. I just fly up this hill, and I fly down it. And I finally start seeing some lights, like there's cars passing. But then I can see it's like a cornfield, and I'm picturing in the daytime what the cornfields look like, how scary that it feels. Because then during the day, when I look at the corn, I'm like, oh my gosh, if this was nighttime, I'd be scared. And here it is nighttime, and now I'm scared because I can see the children of the corn out there. And then on my right, there's a cornfield, and I hear something rustling in the cornfield, and then something's coming. The corn's moving. And I'm like, oh, no. And I pedal out of there so fast, I didn't even look back. And then I'm like freaking out. I'm like, I get to a gas station, I pull in there just to breathe. So I was like, I'm like, all right, so it's saying this long road is running out. I'm going to have to turn in about a mile, or a quarter of a mile, half a mile, I believe. And so I'm like, let me look at the satellite and see what the next road looks like. So I'm looking, the next road is about 20 miles in nothing but woods. There wasn't even a house on this road. And I was like, I'm going to wait until it gets a little bit brighter. So I have like an hour. Because now I'm just like, this is definitely not safe. I don't know what's out there. I'm at least going to wait for some form of light, right? So I'm sitting there on this bench at the gas station because I couldn't go in the gas station. It was just like, there was nowhere to actually go into. So I'm sitting out there at this bench, and I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't wear my jacket. I had on a long sleeve cycling jersey and my yellow vest. Cycling jersey wasn't that warm. It was just long sleeve. So I'm like in it like this. It's really cold. And I'm like, F. And I'm like, Mom. And I'm freezing. And like finally, it's not the sun, but it's like, what is that, dusk? Where you can see around you. There's no sun, but it's bright enough to the point where I'm like, I need to get up and I need to get moving because I'm just cold. So I get on my bike, and I'm in the first stages of hypothermia. Because I was like, all right, I just gotta get moving and I'll warm up. And I'm literally like this. And I'm shaking. Everything is shaking. Like my whole body was just like this. Like I've never been like that. I live in New England and we get the winter, and I've never shivered like that. And I know that was the first stages of hypothermia. And I was like, I can't, honestly, it's not safe. This isn't safe for me right now. I need to do what's right and pull over, find the next gas station that has indoors. So I did. I found this next gas station, and it had a place to sit. And I was like, Mom, I need you to bring my car so I can go in my suitcase and get my stuff. So she came, got my jacket, my pants, my biking pants, and I was off again. Finally, slowly starting to warm up. Now I'm on this bike trail, and luckily the last day it was flat. It was so flat. There were hills, but it was so flat for a good bit of time. I got a lot of mileage done on this flat bike trail. I think I got like 54 miles done on the trail, and it was flat. It was great. And nothing really extreme happened on there on the bike trail. Just riding, kind of reflecting on everything. Then I had to take a ferry to cross over. Crossed over, I had him come meet me. So I went down this road. It said road closed. I was like, let me just go down there and I'll tell you if it's actually closed and if you should come down this way. I ride. It's like a mile down the road that there's somewhere that the road is actually closed, and I had to ride back. So I ride and he comes and I could take these pants off. Like, I wanted to just get fresh because I had another 50 miles to go. I wanted fresh socks, fresh gloves, fresh padded shorts, fresh shirt. Just I wanted to be good to go. Just start over. So he picks me up, and then we drive, and I'm like, all right, you can let me out here. This is about a good amount of time that I can ride. And so then we pull up to this light, and these cops come from every different direction, and we're like, what the F? And he's like, so I'm like, just pull over there and just let me out. And so the cop's like, no. And we're like, he's like, I'm just dropping her off. He's like, fine. So I'm like getting ready to get on the bike, and I'm like, I feel like I don't want to risk getting up there in that road being closed, because he said a truck fell over on the bridge. So we drove a little bit more, and he dropped me off. And he dropped me off some random so, and honestly, this time, like, I did not feel like this was a 100-mile ride. I felt fine. I felt great. So I asked my mom to meet me at this library. Mom's stressing me out because she's like questioning, should I go in it? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how long it's gonna, like, I don't know the logistics of what's going on. Blah blah blah. So I go there, and she's like, did you look online? Because this place, it's not here anymore. And I instantly felt like my heart broke, because I really wanted to see it. And the Mission 22 War at Home monument it's just dedicated to some veterans that have taken their lives, and it's steel cutouts of their actual body in uniform, and it's just beautiful. And that was my purpose for the ride. And like I said, I knew that there was a possibility it wasn't there, but I was hoping it was, but it wasn't. So I was a bit crushed. I know I left my mom. I didn't really say much, but I was sad, and I had a lot going through my head. I felt bad, and so I left, and I started heading towards my final destination, and I had a moment where I broke down again. Because I felt like, first, part of me felt guilty for getting the ride from my friend, even though that was the plan. But in my head, like, I think it was maybe 3 miles that we avoided because of the truck turned over. And I felt like by skipping that 3 miles, I was a quitter, or like I failed. And I know I didn't fail. But at that moment, I felt like I have come so far. I've overcome so many obstacles on this trip, and I couldn't avoid this one. And I felt weak for the moment. And then I started thinking, like, this is my last day. Did I do enough? Did I help anybody? Did I make any bit of a difference? And I remembered I made it and I remembered like all the videos on that I posted on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. And I had to remind myself of all the people that commented, and I always had to remember the times when I do the 22-hour streams, the amount of people that say that I've saved their lives. And I'm not bragging. Again, just telling you what's going through my head, on what was going through my head. And I had to remember, like, because that's another thing. Like, I don't like to brag. So I don't like to I don't like to boast myself. I don't like to pump myself up like that. Like, I don't like to be like, yeah, you did this, you did this. So that's why my mind goes there, because I don't feel like I do enough. That's why I did this trip in the first place, because the 22-hour streams, I didn't feel like I was doing enough. And honestly, I still don't think that I did enough. And I accept that. And I accept that because if you feel like you've done enough, you're never going to try to do more. If you feel like this is all I can give, I've given my all, you're not going to strive to do more. At all. And I don't want to settle for that. I don't want to settle for that bike ride. Now I have to financially recover from it before I can do the next big thing, but I'm not done. Okay? So I snapped out of it. I kept going. And now I'm like, I'm drinking a lot of Red Bull because I am starting to feel the effects of this bike ride that I've just taken. And everything is hitting me, and everyone's messaging me. Where are you? Like, and I'm like, you guys don't know what this is feeling like right now. Like, I've just had a mental breakdown. I have to pee. There's nowhere for me to pee. Like, I want to get there before it's dark and see you guys, and everybody's messaging me. Where are you? How are you? How's it going? How are you feeling? And believe me, I'm not ungrateful for that. It just was a lot. It was a lot at once. I didn't get to see the memorial, like everything. The ride's done. Now what? And so I'm riding, and I finally find a bathroom, and I feel like I'm relieved. So I'm like 19 minutes from my destination, and I'm hurting. And now everything is hitting me, and it's all starting to hurt, and I am struggling. And I'm pedaling, and I'm like crying, and I'm like texting my Chewy, and because he's the only one right now that can comfort me and make me feel like it's gonna be okay, you can do this. And I literally just needed him. And I literally just wanted him to be on a bike next to me, like, let's go in. So I'm like, I'm 5 minutes, and everything felt numb. Like, my arms felt numb, my hands were numb, my whole body was just numb. And I was pushing with everything I had. Like, I was pedaling like I've never pedaled before. I just wanted to get there. I just wanted to get off this bike. And I finally get to the end, and I see all of them, and they're all holding my signs. And I'm gonna have to stop it so I can finish the clip. Sorry.